Hey guys, it's Pelicandude, and today I'm bringing you a little commentary on perhaps a controversial topic in the video game world, and it is cheap play really cheap? Is it unfair to use things that are generally considered overpowered or not? And I'd say yes and no. And you might think, well, that's a spectacular show of sitting on the fence there, Pelicandude. Good job. It's a good thing we have you here to make these videos for us. But let me explain a little bit. So, in my opinion, you've got a couple different kinds of cheap play. So you've got cheap play that just completely shuts down the enemy, and then you've got stuff that's fun. So you've got like enjoyable cheap play, so to speak, and then you've got stuff that's just like so either overpowered or slow or just something silly and stupid that's not even really enjoyable for the user to experience, either if you're on the receiving end or even the end that's dishing it out, so to speak. So for instance, a lot of people consider this cheap play, this whole raiding party here. It's like, oh, you bypass my units, you bypass my defenses, and you're killing me. Raiding shouldn't be allowed, raiding is for losers, blah blah blah. Raiding is for people who don't know how to actually do macro. And to some extent, you could say they're right, but in reality, is this bad? You know, it's easy to pick off. You see, once his units caught up with me there, and once I kind of hit the other side of his base where he had some turrets, I was done, but I managed to cut a big swath right through the middle there. Also, defense creeping, another thing I'm doing. Is that cheap? It's still fun, and, you can outsmart it if you really are, thinking about it. In a way, defense creeping is kind of an act of the enemy, so to speak, that if the enemy is defense creeping you and you can't take them out, it's kind of your fault. Unless it's a super small map. I understand, okay? I understand artillery, like a pelter, can be really annoying on a super small map. I get that. Like on those insane 10-player free-for-alls on like the size 1 moons that are stupid in my opinion, but incredibly hectic. I kind of get how you might be frustrated by that. But on a planet like this, it's so big, if I'm able to defense creep someone, is it cheap? Because I had to go pretty far out of my way to build this forward fire base. And he had the units that realistically, if he had been watching his radar, there were only 2 bots that went to do that, 2 construction bots that started that base. I didn't have any units there to protect them. If he had been watching his radar, he could have sent like literally 3 or 4 bots or tanks and could have taken it out before I'd even gotten it off the ground. So again, is cheap play cheap? I don't know. So Tech 2 Air was something a lot of people complained about. Was that cheap, or was that a result of not building enough Tech 2 fighters, or any fighters at all, or mobile anti-aircraft units? And mobile anti-aircraft units did just get buffed too, it should be pointed out, to the point where they can tear through Tech 2 Air, almost where it's not fair for the Tech 2 Air, to be perfectly honest. So maybe that needs to be tweaked a little bit. Which, yeah, that's a good... If your enemy is building Tech 2 Air, try and fill your base with Tech 1 mobile AA. It's a lot more effective than the towers, trust me. So there's that. Is nukes, interplanetary nukes, are they... Not, like, interplanetary nukes, are they frustrating? Yes. And no. So, on one hand, they're very useful, and on the other hand, they're frustrating. So, like, I uploaded a game where you couldn't smash any planets, and I ended up nuking another guy. There's actually a couple games I've had where I've ended up nuking the other player, because I couldn't smash any planets together, and I've been nuking them from a different planet. And that always stinks to me, because I feel like the point of the game is to build rocket boosters and smash it into the other planet, and it looks cooler, and it's the name of the game, so why wouldn't you do it? Kind of thing. As opposed to with, the interplanetary... I feel like with an orbital bombardment, with an asteroid hits your base, it's like it doesn't matter if you lost, because that's really cool. Stuff like that. Then you've got stuff like walls, which I'm not sure if anyone finds walls satisfying. Let me know. Okay, you might think, oh great, he's talking about the walls again. I feel like that's half of my commentaries are just complaining about walls. But basically, are walls okay because you just sit behind them? Or are they not fun? Because, again, you just sit behind them and you watch units break against them. Like, isn't it, in my opinion, more entertaining to have 2 big armies of units clashing against each other in a giant battle? You know, so I guess that's my answer to the question. Is cheap play cheap? Is overpowered stuff really overpowered? Or is it unfair to use? And so there's my answer, and again, it's sometimes, and it depends on whether it's still fun. If it's fun, and if it's something that the enemy could do that could have probably countered it pretty easily, then I'm gonna have to say, no, it wasn't cheap. But because that's not really overpowered, that's just you failing to act. But if it is something like, again, walls, where, you know, are walls overpowered? Probably not in the late game. In the late game, you've got a ton of Tech 2 mobile artillery running around, and that'll pretty much cream the walls. But early in the game, yeah, they're a little bit overpowered. Like I've said before, I wish they would cost more and take longer to build. Like, that's how they were balanced back in Total Annihilation, was the fact that Dragon's Teeth, we had no lines queues. So if you wanted to make walls, you actually had to take a fair amount of time to make your wall. It wasn't just like, oh, spam line of walls and instantly make all of them. They took a while longer to build just because units, I felt like, path found slower, and the construction units took longer to unfold their little nanolay farms and stuff like that. But yeah, so there you go. I guess that's my answer to whether cheap play is really cheap. And I hope this commentary wasn't too rambly. I just wanted to make a video like this, just kind of talk about it. And there's a beautiful commander explosion. Unfortunately, this game ended in a glitch. I love it when that happens, especially when I already had 3 Halleys built on one of these wonderful moons, but what you gonna do? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the commentary, guys, and I hope that all of you have a nice day. Thank you.